Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi everyone, welcome to Thrive. This is episode number 13, The Key to Brand Happiness, with my guest, Michelle Gelati. Michelle Gelati is the owner of Michelle Gelati International, a brand coaching and empowerment agency that teaches women entrepreneurs how to make happiness their business. Michelle is a couture brand creator, international speaker, and writer for Forbes magazine, The Huffington Post, and was recently named one of the leading creatives in the nation by Origin magazine. On this episode, Michelle shares with us 3 things that you really must consider when writing any copy to stay on brand and be authentic. We also talk about what it means to have a brand feeling word and how important it is to have a sense of mission and purpose in your business. And we have a really great discussion about how entrepreneurship is changing the face of the entire planet. And finally, Michelle shares with us why love and connection are the main ingredients to have a successful business for yourself and your clients. Michelle is a soulful, wise woman and has so much to share. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker to entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any platform, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. You're in for high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making a difference, and rocking their brands. And no one is rocking it out better than my friend Michelle Gelati. Michelle is a yogi in business and in life, and has recently been named one of the nation's top creatives in Origin magazine and has been quoted by Forbes. She's the creator of such programs as Brand to Success, Photography to Success, and Mom to Mogul. Having worked with brands such as Nike, Hewlett-Packard, and Starbucks in her past life, Michelle is now a couture brand creator, success coach, writer, modern adventurist, entrepreneurial mom, Huffington Post blogger, and speaker supporting women in making happiness their business. Michelle is the owner of Michelle Gelati International, a branding, coaching, and empowerment agency, and author in the making with How to Be a Walking Mantra, 8 simple yoga truths to stretch every mom's happiness. Thank you so much for being here, Michelle. I am thrilled to have you.
Me as well. I think ever since you and I met, we've, I'll speak for both of us. I think we've definitely, hey, we really get each other, and there's so much synergy. There's so many different topics that I know both you and I love to chat about. So I think this chat this morning is going to be really, really fun. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled, and I totally agree. And I was chatting. Chatting a little bit with people in the chat beforehand, where sometimes people don't like to have other people from their same industry on, and I love it. I love talking to other people who are branding, and one of the things that I love about you, Michelle, is that you're so focused on happiness. It's a real core principle of mine, and I know that that's a really huge foundational piece to your business and your life. So. Yeah, talk to me a little bit about, and to the audience a little bit about how that became such a big focus for you.
Yeah. So, and I feel that this is really going to resonate with a lot of us who are listening, whether we've worked in corporate or not. There's so many of us who have worked, for someone else before we started to work for ourselves. And I know for me, this idea of really being led by my happiness, following my authenticity, which to me is, when I say happiness, I mean authenticity. When I say authenticity, I mean happiness, really started, let's see now, I've had the business 14 years, so about 15 to 16, 17 years ago, I was working in corporate, and I remember vividly, I remember feeling that I was always saving my inspiration for nights and weekends. I loved the industry I was in, and I felt very creative, and I did feel like I could be myself, and yet I knew there was more. At night I would be writing all these ideas of entrepreneurial things that I would do and articles I would write when I had time. I would do the same on the weekends. And finally, after 8 years, you know, in what you called in my bio of my past life, I decided that instead of, you know, doing that work, you know, doing that creative work, because I really do see branding, advertising, marketing as creative work. I see all work as creative. But I decided that I could really do that, and I could really do it on my own terms, again, following my happiness by going out on my own. And I can say that, you know, after doing that and having about 3 or 4 years in my own business, I had another sort of very similar realization where I thought to myself or felt there's more. And the more in that, you know, in that time, in that season of my life and business was I wasn't allowing myself to really be me in my business. You know, here now I have this opportunity of freedom and of being able to share stories the way that I wanted to and market the way I wanted to and share with people in the way that I really, you know, that really felt in alignment with me. And yet there was something holding me back. And so at about year 5 or so, and this is what I always share with clients is, you know, clients who come to me who are, let's say, in the first 0 to 3 years or so, that it took me that long, but it doesn't really have to take us that long, where I once again decided to follow my happiness and really put more of me back into the business or into the business. And when I did that, I didn't expect for the following thing to happen. I mean, it was a great sort of consequence, but once I did follow my happiness and again injected more of me, really shared my story in the way that felt good to me, that felt very honest and in integrity. Not that I wasn't before, but I was definitely I was using the filter of, is this professional, to express myself? Mm-hmm. And as much as I share with clients, of course, it's so beautiful to be elegant and professional in our writing and in our work and in our expression of ourselves. There's definitely room to be more of who we really are, because people, you know, they really, to use the word buy, they really buy into us, into who we are, before they buy our products and services. So my business ended up growing about 3-fold over those next few years. And even though, you know, everyone listening, I know we're all smart business people here, there's never just one thing that helps us pop. I really believe that there's always a few different things going on and that we need to have going on in order for this success to happen, or for this pop to happen. However, I know, you know, that this idea of putting more of myself into the business absolutely connected me to the people who I was not only going to feel so much joy working with, but that they really were going to feel so much joy and obviously get the results that they want. So from that point forward, it was, again, I really did sort of land back in my happiness. And it's such a great thing to think about now, because, you know, if I knew then what I knew now, you know, that would have been great. But it's a great path, because now I'm able to speak from both sides of the bridge, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think it gives you a lot more empathy, right? Yeah. When your clients come to you and they're like, I don't know how to do this, you know, and that was one of the things that as you were speaking, I thought, what does it mean to put, we all hear this, right? And we all tell our clients, bring more of yourself to your work. What does that look like? What does that mean? So can you share some specific ways that you did it, or that you tell clients that you can infuse more of your business with yourself? What are some specific things?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing that I think of is story. So many of us, and I know I did this in my very first website in 2001 when I started the business, where there's so many ideas coming to me. I want to give them all to you. I have like 15 things waiting.
Okay, do three.
So the first one would be, okay, so story is really our marketing. Let's put it that way. That's honest. It's who we are. That is, you know, when someone is searching our website, the About page or the My Story page is one of the top pages that people search before they maybe go to the programs page or something else. And so I think one action really actionable item that we can do is in that story. And what I tell my clients is, we want to really bookend their story with two very powerful things. I'm going to try and keep it really simple. And of course, the whole, 3, 4, 5 paragraph sharing, we want it to be powerful. However, for example, at the end, it's really, if we're going for authenticity, and again, this power, sharing our mission or sharing what our purpose is. So that's the first, is really getting clear what that depth, what our brand of depth and daring is. So that's who we really are, and that's what we want to bring to our businesses every day. So if we can first, in our story, and of course you can put this anywhere in the story. I happen to teach clients that we want to end it with, our last brilliant bookend, we want to end it with, and therefore, I believe that my purpose, in this business, in this thing we confusingly call a business, which is really a movement, that my purpose here to X, Y, Z. And so that to me is getting really honest. This is what I mean about getting really honest. Why do you really do what you do?
Right.
What is that brand of depth and daring? Where does your passion really come from? So that would be tip number 1. Number 2 is don't be afraid to share what is happening in your life, because the personal is professional. The professional is personal.
Now more than ever, right? I mean, that's way more true now than it used to be.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, more now than ever. And it really goes back to what I said a couple minutes ago, that, people are really, our tribe, our party people, the people that we are really meant to support, and that, again, are going to make our lives a living joy as well, because it's a two-way street. They really want to know more about us before they know about our products and services. So this is not, I don't mean TMI, I don't mean sharing, everything, because there is an elegance to it, but I do mean not being afraid to meld both worlds, if that makes sense. And always saying, and here's the actionable tip, is that let's say, I love to write, and so I'm on Facebook a lot, and I'm writing sort of blog-like articles in a Facebook post. But I do this in my newsletter as well. If I'm bringing in something personal, I'm always, when I start the piece, in the middle of the piece, and at the end of the piece, I'm always asking myself, is this authentic? Is this of value to whom is going to be reading this, and is this unique? Yeah. And really, you could say, is this unique to me? Is really what I mean, because we don't just want to put something out there that is different for different sake. But so if we ask ourselves these questions, again, beginning, middle, and end, with everything that we write, with everything that we do, with everything that we say, we have a better chance of really expressing ourselves in not just the most authentic way, but in a way that makes us feel, again, and I'm feeling it right now speaking to you, in a way that makes us feel so happy, so filled with joy. And that's really where I feel, this is why we all wanted to start our business, to feel more joy, to feel more freedom. And so if we want to be more free, if we want to feel more joy, really getting into the practice of these couple of things, and I'll give one more tip as well, getting into the practice of our authenticity. It's crazy that we're not used to it, but I wasn't used to it. Even though I was in a creative industry, even though, I've always thought I was really myself, again, I think also it comes with experience, where you look back at yourself, your professional self 5 years ago, your human self 5 years ago, and you go, wow, I'm way more me today, unapologetically, than I was yesterday. Yeah. So
I think that's a really good point, because it's not that you go to a brand strategist, or you start your business, or you start writing, and all of a sudden that part of you that is right under the surface is like everything's there and it's blooming all at the same time. It's not. It's a process. And you're talking about looking back 5 years, and you weren't as open or as authentic then, but don't you think that actually doing the writing, doing your business, doing the work, is showing you every day more and more who you are at your authentic core. So the work exposes your authenticity, right?
100%.
Yeah. So I think
100%. And one of my
no, I was just going to say, some people I think have a misconception that, okay, now I'm going to be authentic, and they're like, because they haven't been doing it. It's a practice, just like yoga is a practice, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really in my favorite, I guess, about, which is, you know, in growing our businesses, we really have the opportunity to grow ourselves. That's really what we're doing. It's so much about personal development, and again, being more ourselves. It is, I truly believe that all of us who have this entrepreneurial spirit, and really I believe that everyone on the planet does, it just comes out in different ways, but for those of us who've actually started businesses, this is what we've signed up for in the most beautiful way. And so that's why I think, and maybe this is the third tip, because there's so many more, but is really thinking about everything that we not only communicate, but everything that we do in our businesses as those things that we get to do, not have to do. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, you know, I remember feeling this way. I came from a marketing background, and I remember thinking of marketing as oh, I have to do this. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, Heather?
You're kind of fuzzing in and out, but the last thing I heard you say is that you used to think of marketing, even in your business, as something that I have to do. And we're just waiting for the feed to catch up. But I can still see you, Michelle. I think you're just a little bit laggy behind, so maybe the screen will pop in. And if you want, you can dash out and come back in, and I'll pop you back into the conversation if that helps. But let me know.
I can hear you. There we go. Can you see me okay, or am I frozen still?
You're not frozen, but you're just a little bit, the audio and the visual are not together completely. If you want, you can like go out and pop back in, and I'll just put you in the conversation again and see if that helps with the feed. Okay. But I think what Michelle was saying is that, you know, I'm
going to jump back.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump up.
Yeah. That she used to think of marketing in her business as something that she had to do. And she was saying that it's when you take on the mindset that it's something that you get to do, that you get to express yourself in a certain way, and that you get to market the way that you want to market, then all of a sudden those things that feel like they could feel like chores, or they could feel like, you know, things that you don't really want to do, or that are taking up your time, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this is another channel that I can use to express my authenticity. And one of the things I also wanted to say, to touch on when Michelle was talking before about when you come to your business, it's not about being something that you're not, showing up as something that you're not. It's really showing up as the best version of who you are, and having the opportunity to constantly refine that and grow yourself and groom your brand and your authenticity by doing the work. You know, great writers, and I know that Michelle loves to write, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but great writers don't just wake up one morning and are great writers. They edit and they write and they write and they write, and that's how you become a master in the way you express yourself. And it's like, you know, my background is in singing, and I remember when I was in college, I was so frustrated. I had this fabulous coach, one of the best musicians I've ever encountered to this day. And I would get really frustrated because I would go into his studio and he would talk to me about being more expressive. And I would say, you know, Tommy, I am expressive. And he would say, well, you know, who do you really think is expressive? And I'm like, I think I'm really expressive. But he couldn't see it, he couldn't hear it, because I didn't have the technique. And I remember one time sitting in there and he said, well, show me how you would do this particular phrase. And there were some notes in the phrase that my voice was having a hard time articulating. So I took the I took the phrase down an octave and sang it down lower, and I put all of my emotion, all of my sensuality and energy into just expressing, not necessarily being technical. And it was very moving, and he was like, I see, you are expressive. But I didn't have the technique to do it in the upper register. And I had to learn that. I had to build those muscles to be able to express myself really the way that I wanted to in my art. And that's part of running your business and building your brand and building your brand expression, is practicing the art of expressing yourself. So there she is. I don't know how much of that you heard, Michelle, but I was riffing on practicing being authentic.
Yes. Well, and something you said is exactly it. This is an opportunity. You know, this thing we call entrepreneurship, this thing these entities we confusingly, in my opinion, call businesses, but they are so much more than that. They are opportunities, and that's where this whole idea of get to do versus have to do comes in. If you and I can look at our marketing, which is, you know, or writing our story, or, you know, sharing on Facebook, or, you know, figuring out what our new program offerings are, as opportunities to express more of who we really are to the world, everything changes. You know, nowadays when I sit at my computer, you know, I had a VIP day yesterday. I have 6 clients in town Thursday and Friday for a retreat. And even though there's so much to do, I'm so aware, again, you could call it a hack, if you will, and maybe this is, you know, I think this is an extension of that third tip. If we can start thinking of our expression as a get to do, and that every time that we sit down to write, or let's say we're doing our brand photography, you know, our shoots or whatever, if we can look at those as opportunities to express more of who we really are, that's what we're here to do as entrepreneurs, and that the more we do that, not only are we able to grow our businesses, because hopefully we're going to be connecting with the right people, but as importantly, if not, you know, more importantly, we're really going to be able to evolve and grow ourselves. So that to me is a joy. So think of get to do, you get to market, you get to create new program offerings, you get to share who you really are on Facebook. And again, this is infusing or bringing the happiness or joy back into our lives and into our businesses.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons people get stuck around that, or get nervous about it, is it brings up all of these old thoughts and patterns that we have of, will people like me? Will I be accepted? Being in school and having to follow certain rules and certain specific ways of doing things. So there's, I think, a little bit of trepidation by people sometimes to, you know, it's like we're saying, yay, jazz hands, we get to express ourselves. And they're going, holy, I don't want, you know, like, how am I going to do that? And the way that I sometimes talk about it is, they're just little, you follow the yeses. You follow the yeses. You try something. You don't like walk out on the street in your bikini, right? You maybe like put your flip-flops on and then walk outside. And you try the little things and you see how it feels. And if you feel, you'll start to get those, like you said in your business, you started to get that positive feedback that reinforced you to open up more and more. So how do you help people that, you know, are nervous about really opening up like that?
Honestly, that's one of the questions I get a lot. You know, I'll have clients or just people in the past have asked me, you know, but what if I'm not super outgoing like you? Or, you know what I mean? I don't want to be in front of the camera, or I don't really, that's not my style, you know, or I'm kind of the quiet yogi type, something like that. And really, I always say, that's great. You know, if that's who you really are, that's where you want to stay. However, you want to create the biggest expression of who you are. So for me, again, we're all being authentic. We just need to turn up the volume a little bit. You know, just like the camera adds 10 pounds, I think, for interest. I know.
Not on these cameras.
No,
Not on these cameras.
it's kind of similar in this whole practice of authenticity is, the camera sort of takes away 10 personality pounds. Let's pretend, because I'm so visual, let's pretend that, or go with that. And so if you think about, when you're doing your brand photography or when you are sitting down to write a new newsletter or blog article or Huffington Post sharing, you really want to, especially if it's about yourself, some articles obviously are not about you, but if it is about you, have that filter in mind. How do I express the biggest, expression of me? How do I share, I should say, the biggest expression of who I really am? So it's not about changing who you are, meaning, again, if you are nervous or feeling like you're more shy or what have you, it's exactly what Heather said. It's about micro movements. And I am all about them. I do them all the time to this day with other things that I don't feel like I am fully comfortable within, or, So one tip that I think is a really, really powerful one that I want to give to you all that will really help is, I mentioned purpose before. One thing that might really help you is getting clear on what your purpose feeling word is. So for example, for me, it's empowered. So what is that feeling that you want to leave the world with more than anything? This feeling that you want to gift not just to people and to your clients within your business, but to everyone that you come across. What is that word for you? And just, do that exercise with yourself. You might have words like empowered or connected or, joy, connection, I'm trying to think, happiness. There's so many amazing words out there, but that really express how you want someone to feel when they have an experience with you. Not just in your business, but in your life.
That's awesome.
And allow that to inspire you. Allow that to guide you in expressing more of who you are every day. Again, it's not about doing it all in one day. It really is a practice. And I think we can devote ourselves to the practice, say yes more and more each day if we know why we're really doing it, what the depth of our, of this movement really is. So I know for me, if there's anything that's making me feel nervous or I'm not quite sure, I go back and I actually have it framed to the left of my desk here. It's in this beautiful, gorgeous frame. My purpose statement and the word empowered is in there. So whenever you're feeling anything other than empowered, to use my word, really go back to that feeling that you want to gift the world with. It's so much easier to pull yourself in or push yourself to, go an extra step that, in that tomorrow. When you're so energized by something. I'm very energized by empowering people in their businesses and lives. So even though I might be a little bit nervous about this or that, or, not fully mastering something, that guides me to be more of who I really am every day.
I love that. I love that because it shifts it shifts the focus from actually yourself, that this is all about me, and it puts you in a place of service. And I think that, as a singer, sometimes I'm not singing as much as I used to, and sometimes it makes me kind of sad. And one of the things that I think is, oh man, when I'm at my piano, like when I'm singing something and it's something like really awesome comes out of my mouth, I'm like, oh man, I wish someone could hear that. But it's not about, oh, I'm so great, I wish they could hear me sing. It's like, oh my God, listen to this. Listen to this. This is going to be like inspire you or change your life, or this going to, this is so cool right here. And it's more about sharing it and having that communal experience of what that thing is. And, it took me a long time as a singer to get to that point of serving in that way. But once you make that switch, it takes away your nerves, right? it gives you more back because you're serving. And I know that I've had this conversation with you at another time. I think I asked you that specific question that you talked about because I was, I had to get rid of some of the edges on my square of professionalism. And one of the things that did for me of having that word was it unlocked some of my humor in my writing. And because joy for me is like, that's why I love you so much, is because I don't want a day to go by where I don't have a belly laugh, right? And I want other people to experience that because I think it's a great part of life. So it took the focus off of, oh my God, I've got to market, more that, man, I want other people to laugh and have fun too. So
and that goes back to the conversation around, calling these entities, we confusingly call them businesses, but I think if we can get back to the core of the matter, the heart and soul of what it really is all about, it's a movement. We are all, I don't care if we are a florist, a fashion designer, an event planner, a brand strategist, we are all here, and it gives me goosebumps. We're all here in our own little way, big way, but we sometimes think it's a little way, to really make the world a more beautiful and joyful place to live in. So, yeah, if we can get back into, like you said, the truth of what it really is all about, which is, it's not about us. It's fun for us, and hopefully we love our work, that we get to do all these things. But at the end of the day, it's not really about us. It's about what we get to come together to do. There's, I think in the book, Think and Grow Rich, I might get it, I think it is, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about a mastermind being, when two minds come together to grow a third mind, something like that. And this kind of reminds me of that, where, this isn't about us. This is about two minds, or like two, you coming from this side of it, and your client or the person that you're here to serve, coming together to grow this third thing, again, out in the world, that is so beautiful, because you've really connected, you've really listened, you're really there to serve, not just to make money, not to, put out another great testimonial. It's from the heart. And there's so much room, especially in this day and age, with everything going on in the world. And there's so much joy. And there's also, the opposite of that as well. And so the more that we can look at our businesses as these movements, as these opportunities, as these get-to-dos, these places where we can serve and put out into the world more love, more connection, asking more questions than we talk per se, getting to really know someone. I think that is where the true joy lies for me, is looking at our businesses in a really human way. When we humanize our businesses, we say to, the reader or to our client, I really get you. I really get you, and I've been there, and let's do this together. Let's figure this out. Let me be your observer. Let me be your observer. Let's put the pieces back together, or let's just rearrange them a little bit. So it becomes just that much, I keep saying the word honest, but our lives and our connections just, oh my goodness, I just feel so much peace when I say that, because when we get that honest, when we realize that it really is about connection and service, you're right, Heather, the nerves or whatever we've been feeling that doesn't feel great starts to really go away, and a crazy thing happens, but we might end up realizing, wow, our business just keeps growing and growing. What's happening? It's because we are about connection and about really being human.
Right, and as you were talking, I was also thinking, we are here to serve, and the more you serve, the more people want to work with you. Who doesn't? If you're here to serve me, of course I want to work with you more and more and more. So it is sort of that mutual love fest, and also mutually beneficial too. It's so, and the other thing it made me think of was I was listening to an NPR interview with some terrorist experts, people, how to overcome terrorism, and they were saying, military is not going to do it. I mean, that's just not going to solve the problem. And one of the experts was talking about marketing campaigns to young people to get a different message out. And I don't know, something about when you were talking about entrepreneurship as love, I just thought, man, we are a huge anti-terrorism squad.
That's what that is honestly the feeling that I had inside when I was talking. Exactly. Yeah. And we can do that Yeah. And we can do that. That's the beautiful, beautiful thing, is that we can bake more connection, more love, and infuse all of these really important things that the world needs into our offerings. I know especially the last few offerings that I was looking at, and this hopefully will help all of you going into launching new things as well. When I talked about story, and I was saying, ask yourself this at the beginning and at the middle, at the end. Same thing, when you're doing your offerings, really ask yourself, because we know that you're going to infuse your, expertise and your specialization. We know that, and it's going to be amazing. And so the question that I now am in the practice of asking myself with every word that I'm putting into new workbooks for my mastermind or new offering is, how can I be even more honest? And I'm going to give you one idea that I think might really energize you. How can I be more honest? How can I bake more connection into this offering? And well, those are really the two main ones, because I don't want to forget this idea that I want to share. Asking myself those two questions moved me recently to, in my mastermind group, which I've done many times before, but in this one, I wanted to be even more honest, and I wanted to create a part of the mastermind, and definitely a part of the workbooks, where my clients would actually be able to peek behind the curtain. And what I mean by that is, it's literally a section in the workbook that is called The Coach Being Coached. And it's an MP3 of me working with 5 or so different people, everything from energy healers to grief counselors. I had a couple people that I love very much pass away over the last couple of years. You name it. Anyone that I am working with. I have these MP3s, and I'm sharing it with these women because I want them to hear what it really takes to not only continue to be authentic and happy, because I truly believe that all of those things really help me, have helped me be even more resilient, even more happy, even more back in my joy, even though I'm still going through grief and different other very real things in life. So anyway, I am so inspired by that idea that I'm going to keep doing it. And they have been as well, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, I can be a leader. The whole idea here is, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, all these different leaders that we love and admire, none of them were perfect. But guess what? They were so inspired and motivated and energized by their purpose on this planet that they put it all out there.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me.
So the more that you can remember that, and this is why I shared it with my clients, I want them to be like, wow, okay, I don't have to be perfect. That's a myth. That's still a myth. And yet I can still lead. And I can still teach. We're all teachers. You know, we really are all here to teach something. Even if you're a florist, even if you're an event planner, even if you're a brand strategist, you are here and we are here to teach something. So yeah, ask yourself those two questions. Is there more honesty that I can bake in this particular thing? And is there more connection that I can find as well?
I love that. And I like what you said too. It doesn't, someone else I talked to said, your job is just the channel for your mission, right? It doesn't matter if you're a florist, and it doesn't matter if you're a dog walker. It's just the channel for what the bigger mission is anyway. So I think people get really caught up, oh, I'm a brand strategist, I'm a financial planner, and that's the channel. You can turn the channel and still have the same mission. So I think when you have that mission, that really underlying thing, that's what really drives you. And I think that's what you're
100%
talking about.
Yes. And you'll find, I think when we are, again, continually driven, and we have to remind ourselves in the morning, honestly, this is why I have my purpose printed out on this beautiful paper and this gorgeous frame over here, is that in the morning, that's when we want to touch base with this, that this is why we do what we do. First and foremost, your writing will change, your expression will change, what you decide to put in your programs will change if you look at this every single morning, or if you connect with it, let's say. You don't have to frame it if you don't want to. I love the idea, but if you just connect with it, post-it note next to your bed. My purpose is this, and look at it every morning.
So is your purpose that you have framed, is that the word that you want to leave people with, the feeling, or is there something else?
That was the nugget I wanted to leave you with, is what is the feeling that you wish to give the world, long after you're gone? What is that feeling you're going to be so proud to have given the world? For me, it's empowerment. Empowered children, empowered women, empowered moms, empowered men. Empowered boys. I have a little boy. Heather, my plug for my computer just slipped out. Would you give me a second? Just plug it back in. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So, yeah, no problem. And when Michelle comes back, so I hope you guys got that. She was talking about what feeling do you want to leave the world with? And I think sometimes it's also what feeling do you want to experience? Because it's coming from you. So Michelle, I was just saying that feeling is not only what you want to leave the world with, but I think when you think about what that is, it's how do you want to feel in the world as well, right? I want to feel joyful. You want to feel empowered. I just get such a wonderful sense from you, Michelle, that you want to be empowered because you have a big mission. That it's through your business, through your entity that you are doing that mission. But I mean, come on, if you're listening to this, you can feel Michelle's power, right? And that drive to make this movement happen. And so I think, don't you think it's both? It's the feeling that you want to leave the world with, but that you want to bring, through yourself and experience yourself.
What we give to the world, we give to ourselves. So, if my purpose is to empower, I am empowered, meaning this is what I'm also, and this is one of the most beautiful gifts that we can give ourselves as entrepreneurs is when we realize what we're really about. Every morning we go, wow, I get to do this work and give it to myself as well, you know? So again, the whole, you know, you teach best what you most need to learn. That's kind of, you know, a version of it where what we are gifting to the world, we are constantly reminding ourselves as well, and we're constantly gifting it to ourselves or saying, hey, this is the opportunity today to be empowered, Michelle. How do you want to express that?
I love it. I love it. Wow. I'm just, my mind, I'm just like, feel like a sponge. I'm soaking up everything that you're saying. This is so wonderful. But I want to honor our time together. And so tell us what else you have coming up. I know you have your book coming up and any other projects you have coming up and how people can get in touch with you and find out more about working with you or some of your programs or where they might start, you know, on their journey around these things that we've talked about today.
You know, the two things. The first thing is, you know, if you felt energized by the purpose feeling word exercise, you know, it's just a small exercise, but it's a really big, it could be a really big outcome, you know, a really big thing. I would start there, you know, and if you have 10, 15, 20 minutes before you have to move on to something else this morning, do it now. You know, I'm very much a do it now sort of gal. So do it, you know, in the next few minutes if you can. And then the next thing I would share is to, you know, to keep connected, or if you want to download this It Factor guide that I have on my website, you can do that by going to michellegelati.com, and that's M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E, and then Gelati is GHILOTTI.com. And you'll see that pop up, and you can check out programs and offerings, as, you know, there as well. But I am running right now. I'm running the Mom Mogul Success Society, which is a mastermind, so specifically for moms. But we talk, you know, we're building brands, we're, you know, meeting revenue goals. So that's been a big joy for me recently. But I would love to, you know, connect with all of you further at my website. Everything's, you know, clearly marked there.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, you can hear from all the things that Michelle's talked about. It is a phenomenal treat to work with her. So I highly encourage you check that out. And I typed it in the chat box as well. So, okay, Michelle, just two last questions I like to ask people. And I think that I already know what your answer is going to be for at least one of them. And that is, when you think of a brand star or a star, what does that mean? What does somebody who is a star, what traits do they have? What do you think?
I love this answer. The word is alignment. So when I think of a brand star, I think of matching up head, mouth, and feet. So be who you are in a Tuesday meeting, or let's say in Tuesday night yoga. Be that person and that day, obviously, and then be that same person, you know, the next morning on Facebook. Be that same person when you go to dinner with a friend. I've found that is one thing that not only energizes me, when I feel that someone is in alignment or in integrity, where it's like, wow, this is who they really are, you know, pretty much all the time. Meaning, you know, I've been through some very real sadness lately. So even though there is a very real grief journey that I'm on, I can honestly say that I feel like myself this morning, like in an hour, I'm going to be this way as well. Like I have this energy, you know, whatever we are, whatever our brand of feeling is, you know, really work or play to be as consistent in that as possible. Be in alignment with your truth.
I love that. I love that. And I knew that your answer was going to be around authenticity. Yes. So I was excited, but I loved the way that you said it. So, so finally, my last question is, as we're here right now in this moment, so present here right now, what are you most grateful for?
That's an easy one. Kind of brings tears to my eyes. I say this to my son. I have a 10-year-old son. I share this with my husband all the time as well. The thing that I'm most grateful for is having the tools to be even more aware of who I really am. So what I mean by that is just being aware, being honest with my own self. You know, this conversation has been about honesty, you know, about being who we really are. And I know that one of the greatest gifts that I feel on a daily basis, today, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, is just this, wow. You know, we as human beings, we're not perfect. And guess what? We have, speaking of a gift, we have this awareness. We can be our own observer. We can turn, you know, kind of look at ourselves as, you know, without judgment, but with going, hey, you know what? How can I be better? How can I express more of my creativity? How can I express more of my joy? So the answer there is really the gift of observation, being able to observe myself honestly and decide and devote time, true time and energy and love to making something better in myself.
Wow, that was really powerful. Wow. Well, I am grateful for you, and I am grateful for your light in the world and for your honesty. And I know, I mean, I've followed you. I don't even remember how I found you, but I found you online years ago, and I followed you. And then we did something, I know I did some of your programs, and, you know, we've chatted online a bunch of times, and now we're doing this lab and this podcast. You are the same. I know that you are the same person you were evolved, but 3 years ago, and you're not someone different now than you are online, and you are who you are, and that is a rare gift. And the light that you bring and the example that you bring into the world and the love that you bring and the connection is just incredible and so deep and powerful. And I know that you are changing the world ripple by ripple by ripple. So I am so grateful for you being here and for your light and for sharing your time with me today.
I feel such a connection to you. So thank you so much for, again, for this get to do, for creating this moment of connection, this moment of honesty. And I truly, you know, my intention coming into this was doing exactly that, really connecting with you, having fun with you, and thank you so much for being an example of collaboration. You know, that here you and I do, you know, very similar things out in this business world, and it's so much fun to come together. Again, these two minds coming together to create a third mind that is even more powerful.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. And I want to thank all of you for being here as well. So we're going to sign off now. Until next time, thank you so much for being here. Here's to hitting all your high notes, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.